Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me? Great.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Yes. Thank you. Hey, Jacob. I'm seeing you now. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Thank you. Yeah, now I see Maria. Hey, Maria.
Hello.
Yes, I hope you're doing well. Let's see. Although Callie's. Whoa, I see some Hollywood style here. Maria, it looks like you came from Hollywood. Oh. I like that.
How's everybody?
Hello, Maria. We're doing well. Hello. Let's see who came. We need quorum. Let's see. Okay, Luis with us. Thank you, Luis. Jonathan. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Oh, the agenda. Let me get the agenda. We're supposed to start. So I'm looking for the agenda. May agenda. May 6th. May 8th, all right. Oh, come on. Just bear with us a few seconds. We're running like 7 minutes. I'm trying to get the agenda. Let me go to the all right, I guess that we're gonna go without the agenda. Can tackle the agenda. Chanel,
Yes.
I guess that probably Jacob might be I don't see Jonathan. Perhaps Jacob, would you be willing to host the meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine.
Thank you. So thank you, Jacob. Yeah, Chanel, I think that we may proceed with him.
Okay, great.
Let me see if I can get the agenda. We still have no quorum yet, but May is there any possibility that we can display the agenda? Because I'm trying to how the heck is this going to? Not understand this. Oh boy. Well.
And I
Yeah.
just had it, and I was gonna forward that to you, and I can't. It went away. Let me
It went
see.
hiding somewhere.
Yeah.
That's
So
very,
I think
very.
I forwarded it to you.
You did forward it to me?
The agenda, yeah.
Let me just go back there. Okay. Okay. Let's see. 23 May. There you go. I see it now. Beautiful. Now the computer I know frozen. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's see who we have. All right, we still have no quorum, but I guess that we will proceed. 1, 2, 3. We have no quorum, but well, at the time, okay. So yeah, we kind of. All right, so let's call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. My name is Faye Florimon, Chair of the Youth and Education Committee. Welcome all, for joining us. For the record, I must say that today is Monday, May 8th, 2023. And right now it's 7:11 p.m. And this is our meeting number 5. So for the record members, would you identify yourself, please?
I'm Maria Luna, Community Board member, of course.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jacob Banis, also community board member, and Faye, I will be taking minutes tonight, just so you know.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Next member.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Luis Cruz. I'm a member of the Youth and Education Committee. Thanks.
Thank you, Luis. Oh, Jonathan is here. Yes, Jonathan, identify yourself. Great, thank
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yes, my name is Jonathan Romita. I'm also a member of this great Youth and Education Committee. I'm still on my way home, so that's why I'm doing it this way.
It's a committee, but
can't
not
do it.
comedy, right?
Yeah, committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry
Yes,
about that.
Guillermo, it's all right. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Guillermo?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Guillermo Ali Perez, public member of Youth and Education Committee.
Thank you. Glad to have you all, and thanks to our guests as well for joining us. And those who are watching us, you know, at their own comfort from their houses. So thank you so much for joining us. So yes, let's go over the agenda. As you can see, we have a presentation from NYU. Is actually from Luz Mercado. More to come. And following her presentation, all members will have the opportunity to ask questions. Questions are asked first by members. In other words, members of this committee ask the question first, and then we turn to the public. After that section, we're actually going to have all in new business, where everyone attending this meeting, including members, of course, will have the opportunity to share any announcement. I believe that we're also going to be reviewing at that phase of the agenda a possible resolution. So more to come that is going to be presented by our Kellen. So moving in our first item, please help me to welcome our guest, Luz Mercado. She is a program manager, investigator, along with her colleague, Kaylee Lamarchit. I believe that's how you pronounce Lamarchit, from NYU. She's an NYU student, also investigator. And also Madison Gray, she also an NYU student, an investigator, also too of research. We can call it for the substitute the word investigator for research, because that's exactly what they are doing. And this is the purpose of this presentation. More to come. They all are representing the NYU School of Global Public Health. And the title of the presentation is Spanish ICU Experience Studies. So let's welcome then. Luz Mercado is the leader here, and let's welcome her. Ms. Mercado, the floor is yours. And thank you for joining us. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing us to join your committee meeting today and to present a little bit about our study.
Sure.
I'm here with my colleague. So Kaylee Lamarchi couldn't make it today, but my colleague and fellow researcher Madison Gray is here. So you will be hearing from her as well.
Hey, Madison.
Thank you. So I would love to be able to share my screen if that's fine with you all. Can I go ahead and share? Let me.
Yeah,
I think I should.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I should be able to share. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Can
Great.
you all see my screen?
Sure. Yes.
Great. Thank you. So like you mentioned, Feb, our research study is the Hispanic ICU Experience Study. And we'll break it down exactly what that means. What we're looking for is Hispanic folks who have an experience in an ICU, and what we're looking for is really their experiences. We want to capture the experiences of these individuals. So really, what is the purpose, or how did this study even come about? So the beginnings of this study came out from COVID. So from what we know within this past 2 years, 3 now of the pandemic, is that Black and Hispanic folks were disproportionately affected during the pandemic. And so we see a lot of respiratory failure coming out of COVID within these past few years. So there's been a lot of research that has come out for patients for these individuals who experience COVID and who experience respiratory failure. But what we're really trying to understand are the experiences of family members. So not necessarily the patients. Yes, the patients is super important, and there's a lot of research going on. And in fact, there's a larger study from which this study came about, looking into the experiences and recovery of patients themselves. But what we're interested in looking at is the experiences of family members, and specifically Hispanic family members in the ICU, right? So what were their experiences like? What are their care preferences? How are they treated? How do they navigate the healthcare system in supporting their family members who are patients? So really, that's the underlying motivation and underlying background for this study. There we go. And Madison, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, so our parameters for who can participate in this study are Hispanic and Latino identified individuals that are in New York City. They have to be adults, so 18 and older, and the family member of a patient hospitalized in the ICU between March 2020 and March 2022 for respiratory failure. So they were taken to the hospital specifically for respiratory failure, and they are also a native Spanish speaker.
Yep. And essentially, so this slide here really just breaks down the process of our study. So we have three main components, three buckets in the process of the study. We have the first part being a screening component. So we don't want to just interview people without knowing if they're eligible. So of course, we want to just make sure we take our time and screen individuals who might be eligible to participate. So really what this screening process looks like is that the researcher, Madison, Kaylee, myself, we really just are going to ask a few set of questions to see if the individual is eligible to participate. And this is going to be done over a quick phone call. It can be, 5-minute quick phone call just to ask these set of questions, or it can be done online via a survey. So we have a Qualtrics link. It's just a quick link that can be sent via text, via email, and can be done, very, very briefly. So that's the first stage, just screen to see who's eligible. The actual interview itself can be completed either in person or over the phone or Zoom, whatever is most convenient for the person, for the individual. We can meet in an area, if it's in person, neutral area, whether it's a park, coffee shop, anywhere where the person feels safe to interview and just speak to us, really, or over Zoom as well. It can be very convenient. We just can send a link, a Zoom link out, or a Zoom number, and just hop on the phone and do that very quickly. The interview itself will take no more than 60 minutes. We're not trying to go over an hour, but we do have a set interview guide with different components that we're looking to ask about this individual's experience as a family member of a patient. So again, their experience with the healthcare team, navigating the healthcare system. We are looking for folks who are Spanish speaking. So were there any language barriers? How did they address those language barriers? How were you able to communicate, how you were feeling or how you were trying to navigate and access resources as well. So that'll be the interview, about 60 minutes. And again, we're not going to collect anything throughout this interview besides just an audio recording and notes that we will take. And this is only just for our purposes for the post-interview process of just making sure we understood what was being said throughout that time. The third component is just the post-interview. And what this process will be is as soon as we complete the interview, the participant will be given a $20 gift card. Either a physical gift card if we meet them in person, or an electronic gift card if the interview is done over the phone or Zoom. And this will be done, like I said, right after the interview. Oops, sorry. This is not. And after the interview, all that we will do is, again, we have audio recordings. We're just going to use that to analyze the data just to see, that we made sure that we captured everything. But again, no information, no names, no numbers, no identifiable information will be attached to that data or to those recordings.
So why should you participate? This research is going to help us improve the experiences of Hispanic ICU patients and their families, because we're going to be examining the care practices that were used during those times for the families. So if you're eligible, it would be really helpful if you could participate.
Great. So again, that's kind of just a general overview of the study. Again, if you have any questions, we're here now to answer any questions. We have an email, icustudy@nyu.edu, and a number where you can reach any of our research team members. So thank you. Yes, and I see a
Thank you
hand.
All right, that's it. This is it.
Yeah, it's really just it was meant to be a brief presentation. Really just meant to inform you all, let you all know if you know someone else in your community, within your networks, who might be interested, who might be eligible, that might have gone through an experience that we've described. Definitely feel free to put them in touch with us, or share flyers. I have flyers as well. I don't think I'm able to drop or attach anything here, but I can definitely share some with you, Faye, if that's fine.
Sure.
Or with others
Definitely.
online who might be interested.
You can share, and I will share with my colleagues and as well with the board. Maybe the board can send it to the community as well. So anyone that might be interested in
Mhm.
in
Thank you,
joining
yeah.
the survey. Yes, I think we can do that possibly. So members, I see hands. I like that very much. So let's start with Jacob, then Maria, and then Ali. Yes.
Thank you both for coming here and sharing this tonight. I think it's a really great study. And I was just going to say, yeah, if you have a flyer or something that the community board can send out, I think that would be fantastic. I also want to make sure I also sit on the Health and Environment Committee for this board, and happy to bring that up with my colleagues there. I think they would be interested to know that that's going on. So just wanted to share that I would do that. And definitely if you could follow up with something that we can share out, that would be fantastic. I assume you would be interested in having us do that to get more participation.
Yes, no, of course, any sort of advertisement. Yes, I see a few messages in the chat. Yes, the study is currently underway. It is active. We are currently recruiting. So any sort of advertisement that can be done through this committee board meeting, other committee board meetings, is very much appreciated on our end. So yeah, Jacob, if you mind sharing your email or, any other contact, I would be more than happy to share that with you and the Health and Environment Committee.
Beautiful. Yes, Maria.
Okay,
Thank you, Jacob. Yes.
First of all, the study is already on the way. Now, once you get all this data together, you're gonna be able to share with whom, and we will be able to get that information to make sure that we understand what happened during
the outcome
situations within the emergency room, the intensive care unit, and then after the fact, because I think it's important that we get prepared to stop things that are continuing happening, because this hasn't been ended. This is just I think that we are looking at a situation that may come back if we are not careful about it. But the thing is that we need to get that information, the fact. And if some of the questions that you're going to be asking of the patient or the families, is that going to be shared with the public also, or how is that going to be handled there?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We do intend to share our results. I mean, our results we would love to be able to share across, not only community members, so share it with communities and disseminate our results essentially back to community members and to those who we are essentially asking for support with. So yes, definitely want to make sure that the community is informed and knows what is coming out of this research. But another important consideration of this research is really making sure that healthcare providers understand, right? So yes, we wanted to make sure that community members understand what the experiences are, but where the change is, where we really want to push for change is at the provider side, the provider level. If providers are unaware of the barriers that Hispanic patients are experiencing, maybe in terms of language or cultural barriers, there's room there for improvement, and there's room there to change something within the medical system, within the healthcare system, to really, take in and consider all the experiences and challenges that maybe Hispanic patients experience within the ICU, right? So yes, to answer your question, we would want to disseminate our results. Of course, non-identifiable, we won't put names and numbers along with the results, but non-identifiable results we would want to disseminate across community members and within the healthcare system as well, to change and influence provider side interventions.
Would you be able also to maybe using this data to push for legislation changes in the system, not only within the medical side, but also at the legislators area where they are going to be, they have the power to force those changes that you are looking for. I think unless something like that is being done or is not being done, I think some of the hospitals and the providers are going to get away with whatever they got away with. So
Yeah.
I think legislation and trying to get support from people who are, in charge of making those changes possible is extremely important for your research.
Yeah, no, you make a great point, and that's a really great suggestion. And again, yeah, we would want to disseminate results as widely as possible and across levels to really make sure that we're addressing these experiences and addressing a potential solution and change to make these experiences better and care outcomes better as well. So thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Maria. Guillermo?
Yes, I really want to appreciate the presentation and thank our presenter today because the topic, it is very interesting, and I believe that one of the things that I would like to ask is how many courses you offer throughout the year?
How many courses?
Yes.
So I'm not necessarily an instructor with the School of Public Health. I work on the research side, and I'm a researcher and program manager. So I'm not entirely sure how many courses are offered across NYU. And also if there's a specific type of course that you're interested in or wanted to know more about.
No, it's just a general question because I'm involved in so many committees in the community, and I meet with a lot of people. And I know that will be a great notice, great advice for them, and to share the information. Also, I would like to see if I can get, I know Maria Luna just mentioned that information is already in the system. I would like to see if I can get a flyer, something that I can just send to my contact people that I know will be more than glad to have this information and share with you.
Perfect. Yes, I would absolutely love to share flyers and any more information as needed with you and anyone else in your contact. So yes, I feel free to also share your email, or if anyone has your email and can share it with me, I would love to share additional information and flyers with you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Guillermo. I'm trying to let me just take one step back, but I'm trying to associate the actual survey that Ms. Mercado is presenting with the courses that you mentioned. And I don't know if this is an outside question from the presentation, or is that you actually wanted to know a particular course given at NYU that has nothing to do with the presentation. That's what I'm trying to find out, because it was confusing to me. She just came to present about a survey, given the experience that the youth population and everybody experienced, with the pandemic. So this is basically taking the temperature of the outcome, especially in the Latinos community, the Spanish community. So I don't know if you're trying to associate something similar to that, or you wanted to know outside from that presentation about a particular course. You know what I'm saying? I think we lost him. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, he's still with us. Yes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm asking because I've been recently I participated with a group of safety instructors that are educating the community in terms of prevention, fire prevention, that kind of thing, and first aid and all of that. Probably, and this is a big group, like 500 members, that I know for sure they will be interested in participating in one of the classes, one of those courses. And that was the question, because people had to come to Columbia University, to NYU, or those classes could be teach on a weekend or in one day. That is my question.
Yeah, so to answer your question, we are not offering a class. This is An interview, it's a research study. So what it is, it's just a one time. We would meet with the person, whoever's interested once. It can be over the phone, on Zoom, or in person, whatever it is, only for an hour. Our whole purpose is to meet them for an hour and just have an interview with them during that time. So it's not extended to an outside course over the weekend, none of that. It's just a one-time meeting with the person who's interested and eligible to participate.
Okay, good. I see. It's like a survey.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, an interview and
All right,
survey.
good. All right, now I'm clear. Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Guillermo. All right. So who else may have a question?
Yeah, I would like to ask. I would like to ask something.
Okay. Yes.
Well,
Go ahead,
first of all, I have to say that it's such an interesting program and initiative. I'm wondering what is the capacity of these programs? Do you have any occupancy limitation, or do you have like groups or divisions? How do you handle the sessions?
Yeah, so like I said, it'll be a one-time interview for an hour. All of our research staff, so Madison, Kaylee, and myself are bilingual. So we are both English and Spanish speakers. So again, we are looking for Hispanic individuals who are native Spanish speakers. The interview doesn't necessarily have to be done in Spanish. It can be done in English, whatever the participant, the individual's language preference is. That is the language in which the interview will be conducted. But we are asking that the individual be a native Spanish speaker. And all our study team members are bilingual. Does that answer your question?
And no limitation in terms of number of participants.
Right. So it'll be a one-on-one. So it'll just be like the team member and the individual. So not a group interview, not a group session. It'll be just a one-on-one interview.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like it.
Guillermo, you have your hands up. You have another question? Or it's just that you forgot to put you? Okay, very good. Well, thank you all for asking. Anybody else? We still have time we can take, a few more questions. I don't know if the attendee may have any question. Let's see who else. Yes, Jacob.
I was just going to raise a question from the chat. Apologies if I missed this, but Mary Mitchell asked what the time frame for completion of the study was.
Right. So the time frame, besides just the 1 hour that we're requesting to meet with the individual, that is basically it. I mean, we're in the recruiting phase of the study right now, meaning we're taking this month of May to recruit individuals who are interested. We would like to start interviews as soon as possible. So I would say within this month of May is our recruitment phase. And we will start conducting interviews and then do the post-interview and analysis phase in the month of June. So I would say within the month of May, if anyone is interested and eligible, please do reach out. We are hoping to start interviews as soon as possible. Thank you.
So then I guess if nobody else has any question, then I will start with my questions. All right. So, okay, this is a research study. And one of the things that I'm curious about is this is only just Latino, right? So have you made any other study on other population besides Latino?
No, so this is our first research study. It's a pilot study, and by pilot, I mean that it's basically coming out of a larger study. And it's in its initial phase. It's really just kind of like an exploratory study, is what pilot essentially means. And it comes from this larger study that's taking place at NYU called the Precipice study, which Precipice initially essentially wants to examine the outcomes among Hispanic survivors of respiratory failure. So basically what's the quality of life among Hispanic respiratory survivors, and how, and what are their health outcomes after being in an ICU and experiencing respiratory failure. So there's a larger study happening, and this is just looking more specifically at, still within Hispanic patients, the experiences of family members. So it's something that hasn't essentially been explored all that much in depth, I would say. And it's something that we are exploring, this question of what are the experiences of family members of patients who are Hispanic, because the experiences of a Hispanic family patient, and family member is very much different than the experiences of a white family member, right, who has a patient in the ICU. So we're really just wanting to explore this larger question and really just capture the experiences of individuals. So for that, yeah, so to answer your question, I would say, no, we haven't done this type of study before. It's really just meant to explore this larger question.
Yeah. And my other question is also to know, is NYU planning to, what they gonna do after they, finish this research?
Mm-hmm. So this
they're gonna share that with another, hospital, or there is another hospital on board, or what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so similar to, I guess, the question that was asked previously. I guess our intentions with the results of this study is really to just be able to identify what are the gaps, right? What are we seeing are the issues and problems maybe that Hispanic family members are experiencing, right? So identifying what those problems are, and then being able to address those within the healthcare system. So, with providers, with nurses, with ICU staff and clinicians, and being able to somehow, create some sort of intervention, whether that be, maybe addressing language barriers in a better way than they currently are being addressed, right? So figuring out a way to disseminate our results across communities and also within the healthcare system. NYU, and the larger study that I was talking about, is connected with other investigators across the US. So we have collaborators at Hopkins University, we have collaborators in Oregon and Michigan. So there's a larger study going on, and I would say there's a larger network within to work in as well, in order to disseminate results and really try and pilot certain interventions across hospitals. So I'm not sure if that answers your question.
No, sort of, but yes, pretty much. But I'm wondering also if mention other entities. So if this is something that in some way the Presbyterian Hospital is involved in this?
What hospital, sorry?
If the Presbyterian Hospital, New York Presbyterian Hospital is involved in this with you?
No. So we're currently not working with any hospital. We don't have any hospital affiliation. What we're really doing right now is just the very early beginning stage of just exploring this question. So again, experiences, what are individuals' experiences during these past 2 years, right? A lot of us and community members had family members who ended up in the ICU, right? And so what were the experiences as a family member who had to go through this, right, within these past 2 years? So it's very much an early exploratory phase. We don't have any affiliations with any hospitals. We just want to capture the experiences of individuals and learn a little bit more about this issue. And then, post this phase, we can then potentially partner with a hospital and kind of pilot things out in terms of interventions or in terms of bringing community members in, whatever that may look like. That will be like a phase 2 of the study. So this is just the very beginnings, let's just understand what the situation is, if that makes sense.
Sure. So I also think that once you finish this research, it will be much appreciated if you can, perhaps you want to come back, to the board and tell us about what was the final outcome before, once you make this public or whatever. I think it would be a good idea.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. I think our research team would absolutely love to be here again and be able to share our results with everyone and with community members.
So we can revise. We can revise this conversation. Yes. All right. So Maria, yes, you have a question. My question. Thank you.
It just came to my head. This probably one of the questions that are, will be bother me if it's not asked of the relatives of the people that have gone to the intensive care unit. What is Guillermo driving all over the place? Guillermo, are you driving? I mean,
yeah.
I'm driving and
probably.
Oh my
Lord. I'm coming
no,
from
no,
work.
I just want you to drive and talk at the same time. Just for your protection. Okay. So the thing is that the people that we are, you are doing this survey of, are probably, when you say Hispanic, African American, white, and so on, so on, so on. I'll be interested to know. Most of the Latino people probably will go to a public hospital, and the service there is going to be much different than the one provided in a private hospital. So there's going to be a difference of result if you do it that way. You're analyzing situations where, especially like the poor people live, and then they were taken to X hospital for service, as opposed to the very private hospital that probably didn't take as much as the the public hospital. Let's say Harlem Hospital. I'm just quoting Harlem Hospital, that is in the center of the African American Latino community, service most of the people that had the COVID. The ones up here in Washington Heights, we only have 1-2 hospitals and it's a mix. It's a mix because they were taking care of not people by ethnicity, but by the condition of the person that was taken in to be, taken care of on the intensive care unit. So there is a lot of questions that have to be analyzed at the, toward the end result of your survey, and just to make a sense, because I think that in that crisis, everybody that have COVID, black, white, blue, polka dot, and short and skinny, was treated the same way, depending on on what was happening at that particular day, or night, or whatever. So we have to be a little careful not to put everybody in the same context. All Hispanic, all black, all white, all and so on and so on, so we can deal with this something like this in the future.
Yes, thank you. You raise a really excellent point. And to answer and to kind of add to this conversation, within our surveys, we are asking about insurance and healthcare coverage. So one of the questions is, do you have insurance? Do you have health insurance? Yes or no? And we want to follow up with, well, what type of insurance is that? Is that a private insurance? Is that a public insurance? Is it Medicaid, Medicare? What does that look like? Because that will also determine, for the most part, where it is that you're receiving care. Is it a private hospital? Is it a public hospital? And what does your experience then look like, right? As a patient and as a family member as well. So that's a really great point. And yes, something that we're definitely thinking about and wanting to make sure that we address and include within our surveys. So thank you.
All right. So do we have anybody else? It seems like no one else is. All right. Well, Ms. Mercado, at this point, I think that I really wanted to thank you and your team for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for giving us the time to present.
No, thank you. This is a very important issue, and I think that we definitely wanted to hear, the unfolding of this, so we can learn exactly what was the outcome. So please do not hesitate to let us know exactly, when this research has finished or will be completed. So we would be glad to provide this conversation.
Thank you. Yes, of course. We'll definitely be in touch, and I will be following up with a few of you who have shared your email with me, and I'll send over some of our recruitment flyers and just additional information that you can share within your networks.
Yeah, whatever you want me to share with the community, I will ask the board to please to share with the community. Just let me know whatever you wanted, whatever information you wanted to be conveyed to the community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you and your team. All right. Okay, let me go into the agenda now. Let's see, go back to this. Yes. All right. All and new business. All right. Well, I have we would like to report on many issues, on many things, important matter that is still pending, but I would like to start with some of our pending agenda item. As you guys know, we already started the unfolding of the committee goals for 2023. So far, we have been able to deliver the bullying discussion. That was number one. the Education Forum, which is number 2 this past Saturday, which, by the way, we're going to go in a few minutes to discuss that. And I also would like to touch base and the and Callis, I know that Jacob has he had discussed or had proposes on item for June. So I wanted to say that any conversation, any discussion, pertaining to your goal or events, whatever you want to call it, do not hesitate to, let us know so we collectively can, work together and really materialize that idea that you have, that goal that you have for the committee. I don't know if tonight you wanted to speak about what you would like to see, what is your plan, what is exactly that you wanted to, what projection you wanted to take. It would be a great idea. And look, we only have 2 more meetings before the board goes on recess. So that means that we may have the opportunity, as still the month of May is still young. June, of course, is just looking at us. So I really and highly encourage you that you will start thinking exactly what you would like to do in the remaining time that we have before the board goes on recess. And of course, before December, you have all the year round to think about it. What is it that you wanted to? And you know that you got our support collectively. So I also wanted to mention that in the next meeting for June, I really going to randomly ask any one of you to chair the meeting. I think the practice of sharing the meeting is a very healthy thing to do. So you guys can put in practice, your skill that you already have somewhere, perhaps hiding somewhere. But I wanted you to use it. So because eventually one day, some of you are going to chair one of our committees. We have about 11 committees in the board, and you never know. So it's something that you ought to practice. It's something that I think is fun for you, and I would love to see you, doing that. Now I would like to also, not myself necessarily, but I would like to some of my colleagues like Jacob, perhaps, who else? Some of the, it could be also one of our public attendants that joined our previous, the past education forum this past Saturday. I would like for them to report what was their experience. I wanted just to say and reiterate my appreciation for Jacob. Jacob did an outstanding job, hosting the event. And I think that definitely this is something that I cannot thank him enough for that. So Jacob, you did an outstanding job. Thank you so much. I'm very proud of everything you did in there. Yes.
Thanks, Faye.
Yes. So if you wanted to maybe share something, maybe Al as well, but well, maybe let's start with you since you moderated the event. How did you feel? What was your take and so forth? And, whatever you want to volunteer for those who didn't have the opportunity to witness. And then maybe Al may want to say something.
Yeah, I will be really brief. I think that we ended up having a really great discussion, and thank you, Faye, for calling together a great set of panelists. I think that our attendees were a little bit slow to show up at first, but once we got going, there were several people that showed up and were engaged, which is great. I think the panel format worked well. I wonder if next time we might have a different approach to a public Q&A session where we call for questions ahead of time. Yes. And then, we can read those off, because I think we asked a lot of great questions. I wonder if we really answered all of the things that folks are wondering about, charter schools and that sort of thing. So I think that was really great. And I'm just thinking about what else we can do from here. I don't know if someone else wants to offer their thoughts on the matter.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacob. We need an outside witness, and that can be probably Al Curlin. Yes, Al. You have to unmute yourself. We cannot hear you, unfortunately.
Thank you, Faye, for putting together such a great panel. And thank you, Jacob, because in the past, discussions between charter school proponents and traditional school proponents could get very, very testy. And I think that the sense of grace that you moderated with, giving everybody respect and kind of setting the tone of calmness really helped to produce a result that I haven't seen in prior meetings. And that is, and a few people brought up, is we've developed this great dichotomy between charter schools and traditional schools, as if that's the dichotomy that we should be talking about. But in private on the floor, we had some charter school people and traditional school people talking to each other, saying the real dichotomy is between excellent schools and challenged or poorly performing schools. And we got to talk about how we can improve both in both sectors. And I thought that was a very significant development and conversation that I hope we can utilize in further meetings. So congratulations.
Thank you, Al. Yes, Maria.
Could you share the audience? Was the young people, the students, parents, what type of people came to the to the event? The participation for what you were talking about, the goals of having this event is to see what was happening within our education system. So I'm questioning, were more parents attending, were more educators attending, who was there, just to have an idea how to continue, and move to something, maybe a continuity, or maybe making those changes, because it's important to see what the community is really needing to hear. What is it that we can bring that information to the community so they can make a difference in the education of their children?
Well, thank you for asking. First of all, I think that we didn't have the desirable audience that we were expecting. A lot of people thought that this is going to be virtual, and I don't know why, because that was not the case. And we specified that in our flyer. But I think we did have several parents, and I think we have few kids, but mostly parents. There was not really a lot. But what we decided as a result of this situation was to record the event and put it in our website, so people that didn't have the opportunity to witness or to attend, so they can see it, in our website. So
and also, are you planning on doing a follow-up on this thing, or how?
Well, that was a part two. So it's really up to the committee to continue the conversation. I think that we should, definitely, we should, but it's really up to the committee to revise this conversation. We should.
So,
Yes,
okay, I'm sorry.
Jacob?
I just wanted to expound on a point that you made, Faye, which was that you were saying a lot of people felt that the event was going to be virtual, even though we specified it wasn't. I do wonder if participation may have been greater if we had done a virtual event. I think that does, of course, come with limitations to whether or not people are able to access the event, which is a concern. But I do think in terms of actually being able to attend or even just able to watch later, I think what we find is that that's sort of the way the world we live in these days is a lot of things happen virtually just so that folks have that opportunity to attend. So I wonder if in the future we might get a better turnout by doing something online, or even, if the board is able to post what we recorded to be able to take a look at how folks access that information there. I mean, still very proud of what we did, but just as a thought to put out there.
Thank you. You're absolutely correct. And I think that if we would have thought about having, this hybrided, so definitely would be a lot better, because today were people more accustomed to see things from their own comfort zone, I think that Zoom has become so popular that this is something that people pretty much prefer, So, but since we basically were trying to replicate what we did many years ago, we thought that in person only, it would be much better, things to do. And I guess that whether this was good or bad idea, I don't know, but the point of the matter, the main point in all this is that it went well, and it's going to be, it's going to be posted in our website. So, but we learned something in here, definitely. I really think so. Yes, really did. And I wanted once again to acknowledge all the panelists, the schools, all the like Lifesite Matter, New York Charter Schools, Inwood Academy. We also have the Square 2, presenting. We had our superintendent office on board, the deputy superintendents. We had also the other family coordinator, Ms. Alicea. These are great, folks that has been in the education field for years, and they have so much to offer. It was an outstanding panel, I would say, in my personal opinion. We had a great panel. The event was outstanding, in my personal opinion, except that we didn't have as much audience as we were expecting. That's all. So, all right. So, Maria, I think, do you have another question or comment?
No, I'm really sorry that I didn't make it, because I made a big mistake. I got up early in the morning to watch the coronation, and then I fell asleep after that. By the time I realized it was like 11:30. So I couldn't, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't go because I fell asleep. But it's important that all the effort that you put into this event should be recognized, and your goals is to educate the community, and even if you didn't have a big crowd, I'm sure that the people who attended came out of there with more information than they had when they got there, so that's a plus. Second, I think that it shows that there are priorities. Just remember when I mentioned to you a long time ago, Saturday is a difficult date for most people to attend, take long hours to, unless they really have an interest on the child.
Yeah,
so these are priorities that we have to look at, and how we can, move forward in the future, because, information is education, and so on, but also the type of life. We just finished listening to a situation about COVID and how that particular crisis, changed the world. I mean, we are not just talking about our community, the poor people that, didn't receive proper service and hospital and things like that. That the impact of this particular, I don't even know how the pandemic or whatever it is made in our life. And so, you have to think about situations like this in order to put something else together in the future. So don't keep saying that you didn't have a lot of people attending. It was enough for the times and the effort, and the people didn't take advantage of this opportunity to get the information that you plan to get, through to them. So congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Maria. Well, I think the main points of focus here is that we made a commitment 13 years ago, and we delivered it this past Saturday. And I think that speaks volumes. it's when you promise something, you owe something. And we delivered that promise. And I think the way in which we delivered it was, I think it was well done. We couldn't have, or we couldn't ask for better outcome in terms of the guests, the panel that we had. We have an outstanding guest. So it was really great. So the promise has been fulfilled. I will say that more than anything else. And as I always say, this is something with the purpose just to educate our parents so they can do better decisions. So parents informed, they can definitely, if we continue being the voice that we are, keep them informed so they can keep learning, they can definitely do better choices. Because the only thing, in my personal view, I'm not going to tell a parents, listen, you should join this school or that school. No, I can educate them. I can tell a person they will share any information that I can have, hand it and share with them, bring the experts so they can educate them. But what they do with that information is really up to them. And this is the point that, that this is our position as a community. We not tell parents what to do. We give them the information. And I think that this is the best position that I personally can take in this regard. Yeah. All right. So I think this is it in terms of this, past event. But I really feel that we already fulfill our promise, not only on the subject, the promise that we made many years back, but also the fact that this year we made this one of our goals. So the fulfillment has been, executed. All right, so let's see. Let me see. Go back to the agenda. Oh, somebody's knocking my door. Hold on, please. Let's go on the agenda. So we're gonna open up the floor for the. Give me 1 second. Just bear with me. Sorry, keeping you in limbo, but yes, let's see. All right, so can we bring the there is a resolution that I would like to share with you that will be brought by Art Curlin, and he's going to explain to us, although I already sent it to you, so I'm sure that you have read it, but he's going to share with you more details and exactly the projection and what he is asking. But definitely I can tell you ahead that this is just something that he wants us to consider it. We did a resolution similar to this few years ago, back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. But I prefer that he elaborate this so he can articulate exactly what is it that he is proposing this committee to consider it. So Al, thank you so much for taking the lead, and watching over our youth and looking always for windows where our, kids can get, involved in the community, because this is all about boiled down to community engagement. And I think this is, to me, it's deja vu, because we already worked on something similar at community board levels many years ago. And here we have you again in another second round, but at state level now. So can't get better than this. Maybe we're going to move further on sometime too. Okay. Let's see if this is my inclusive. So please, Al, the floor is yours.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Faye. So, I just start to say that, in the past, we did work on a resolution for community boards, where at the time, this was 2007, in order to be a community board member, you had to be 18 years of age.
Yes.
And there was an organization at the time that was called the Future Voters of America that used to hold annual high school congresses with about 300 delegates from high schools around the city, whose charge was to come up with mandates to present to city government in order to improve conditions in the city, improve services, or expand upon opportunity. And at that time, that Congress voted on a mandate to lower the age of eligibility from age 18 to age 16. And, this was introduced to the city council in 2007. And, it took 7 years to pass. It was kind of slow but sure momentum, I would say, in the first 4 or 5 years. And then years 6 and 7, all of a sudden it took off because lots of elected officials were jumping on board. And more importantly, people on the ground were putting in their voice about how they wanted the elected officials to vote. So this particular bill is similar to the community board legislation in that the city of New York cannot decide on its own to change electoral law. In order to reduce the age of voting to age 16 in New York State, this has to be passed by the New York State legislature, and it also has to be signed off by whoever the governor is, in this case, Governor Hochul. The other wrinkle is that you actually have to change 2 pieces of the New York State Constitution. So initially, the sponsors of the bill, State Senator Carroll and State Senator Hoyle Segal and State Assemblyman Carroll, they put together legislation calling for a change to election law, which is still the bill, and that would be reflected in S-660 and A-274. But when they sent the proposal to the Elections Committee, they were told you cannot simply change election law. You also have to change the New York State Constitution, which has a clause in the Constitution saying the voting age is 18. So you have to do both. And the wrinkle in that clause is, say, for instance, the legislature passed that clause this year, they would have to wait until after the next subsequent election and then vote again a second time, because it's 2 consecutive bodies of elected legislative officials, crossing that boundary of an election that makes it official. So that's basically the mechanics. And then the other thing I alluded to is what helped change the momentum, I would say about 2005 into 2006, is that a lot of community boards got involved in advocacy, because obviously in that case, it would be affecting boards directly by changing the age. And boards across the city began passing resolutions of support, which got sent both to the city council and the New York State legislature. So what that did is it began to show the state legislature that there was home rule support for something that's going to be affecting New York City only. And that the other thing that it did is it created momentum in the city council to get a New York City Council resolution of support passed. That was done actually in 2013. And that when that came to the floor of the Operations Committee, that was passed unanimously. And then when we went to the full floor of the City Council, it was passed with only 2 votes in opposition. It was almost a nearly unanimous vote. So we are looking for the same thing in this cycle for lowering the voting age. So I don't want to go on and on and on, because obviously you all could read the resolution, but I just wanted to note that it has the full support of all our local elected officials, beginning with Congressman Espaillat, going, with both state senators, both state assemblymen, both city councilmen, and also has the support of my esteemed Representative Maria Luna, the Democratic district leader. The second point I wanted to make is that on the international stage, voting for 16-year-olds has been going on for a decade, or in some cases over a decade. And the results have been very, very positive. What they found a lot of things. I'll just point out two, is that when people register to vote at age 16 or 17, in their initial time of voting, their first time of voting, they come out at about 4 times the rate as when people register at age 18, 19, or 20. And, social psychologists have been studying this, and political scientists, and, nothing is ever, fully settled, but the consensus seems to be that when people begin to vote when they're still in high school, their lives are a little bit more stable than when you're 18, 19, or 20 years old, because at that point in life, you've graduated high school. In many cases, you've left home and you're facing major life decisions, getting a job, leaving the city to go to school, starting a family. And sometimes that pushes registering to vote aside a little bit. Whereas in high school, you're a little bit more stable, and you also have the added benefit of having mentors within the school that help to guide you in the process of understanding city government, and also learning the mechanisms and the importance of voting. The other thing that they found is that over subsequent elections, those that first registered at age 16 or 17 continue to vote in greater numbers than those that voted or registered at 18, 19, or 20. Not at quite the same rate, not at 4 to 1, but still at increased rates. So I think especially in New York City, where in my opinion, we are facing a crisis of participation, we have to remember that in the New York mayoral election, 23% of eligible voters came out and voted for the chief executive officer of New York City. To me, this is a crisis. And as you go down the ballot, it gets lower and lower. And when you get down to the lower parts of the ballot, it's 10%, voted for district attorneys. So I think by A, having people that are enthusiastic, and B, having people that are still in school learning the process, we will help to energize, the voting base in New York City. And at the same time, we will entitle people that otherwise are great citizens, 16 and 17-year-olds, in addition to paying taxes, a lot of them, and not having representation, they give to the city through hours and hours and hours of community service to their organizations, to their communities, and as advisors to elected officials, in city government. So this would be an extension of that citizenship capacity. So what we're asking for in this resolution is for both chambers to pass the bill and hopefully push Governor Hochul to sign the bill. And we are also asking for the New York City Council to demonstrate a broad consensus in home rule by passing a New York City Council resolution of support. My understanding is that Councilperson Gail Brewer, wants to take the lead on this, but obviously, she'll have the enthusiastic support of our local council people, and getting this done. So that's kind of the quick synopsis, unless there are any questions or comments. So is that Jacob?
Yes, I have a question for you all. First of all, thank you for this. I think this is such an incredibly important topic, and I am excited to see this be a conversation that we're having. I'm also really excited to see, as you noted in the resolution, the support that this already has from state and local elected officials. I think that's so cool. I have one question. I don't want to get bogged down in this point, but I'm curious about the whereas that mentions income and sales tax and not having electoral input on how those revenues are spent. I feel like there's a point that could come up where it could be mentioned that I think many 16 and 17-year-olds are exempt from a lot of taxes in New York State, and maybe that folks would say the folks that are elected to office do represent those 16 and 17-year-olds, although they did not; those youth did not elect them themselves. I don't know. I'm probably getting really just caught up in something that's not important, but I was curious if you had any thoughts on that point.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have an objection to saying, other than students that are exempt, because they're in high school, other 16 and 17-year-olds, do pay taxes. I mean, I think that the latest estimate is there are about over 100,000 16 and 17-year-olds that are neither in school and unfortunately not connected to a meaningful full-time employment. So that's just, what we used to call the disconnected youth. I call them, the disenfranchised youth or the disconnected youth. But then there are other 16 and 17-year-olds that, leave school for other reasons, a lot of it being economic necessity. Either their parents cannot survive, without their income, and they're leaving school to get, more full-time jobs, or some of them are actually, raising children, so they're working even part-time, but still paying taxes.
Those are all excellent points. Thank you. I feel like that addresses my question well. I wasn't thinking about those factors. Appreciate it.
Are you welcome?
Very good. All right. Anybody else may have any other question or comment?
Maria?
Yes, Maria.
I just want to let the members of this committee and the one that are listening that this effort also push for negotiation that young people were named full members of the community board. I remember the very first younger person that was appointed to Community Board 12 was George Espinal. I think that's the first one out, right? That I was appointed to our community board.
Our community board, yes.
One of the things that about participation that we need to make sure that we recognize the capacity of a young teenager of having his voice or her voice heard at the same level and had a seat at the table. We feel maybe some parents don't want to give their children a lot of responsibility that they think that they have to think for them, as opposed to giving them the independence of making decisions or having discussion, family discussion on how to build up the responsibility of the younger people to continue being, the civil members of our society, which we need. And if we give them that opportunity, I think that we will open up more, not opportunity, but the responsibility of the people who we see so many young people incarcerated because they don't have a leadership, within their family or their society, and they haven't been able to give that, that time of themselves, and then we see them going the wrong path. I think that if we will give them, this hope, this support, I think we'll have a better, the opportunity of the younger people to be leaders and to be, a citizen. You don't have to be a leader. I mean, anybody can, that is a word that is being misused. But I think that if we have, we will have a better society if we recognize that that opportunity for the younger people have to be given to them and have to be, they should be, be able to do things for themselves and not to think about what my father, my older brother, or my mother is telling me what to do. So let's use their brain. And I believe that that is something that, we owe to our young people. Instead of incarceration, open doors for them, make them understand that they are part of the communication and the conversation. And then I think that we will see something much better than young people carrying guns and things like that. So, I've been supporting this for many, many years because I know that there are so many, including refugees, young people that comes here 10 years old, 14 years old. They should be able to have that opportunity to improve our society, to improve each one of us. And I think that we will see a better country, a better world for. So we need to give them, open up, and we will see the value that we all have in our families of the young people if we treat them with respect and if we treat them that they're part of education, and maybe we are, we will see something different. So I urge everybody to, elected officials are very, sometimes they think twice about not making a commitment because they are afraid that people are not going to vote for them and things like that. But I think the young people, we have to have a better use for their brains. And I think that this is, this is a start.
This is a
The
start.
beginning of a new generation that we are going to be able to, to continue open everything that we have there, and schools, colleges, and those that are not even able to go to college because either economic or whatever, we owe to them to make sure that that we can sit together and either argue, fight, but in the long run, I think we will compromise and make this a better society. So I don't know about this particular resolution now. It's been going on for a long time. Al and his team are doing such a great, effort to make sure that they educate the older people. That we need to open up. We need to open up, and I think that we should support this. So
Yeah,
thank you so much, Al.
Just wanted to say, Maria, that the resolution has not been going on along. The movement has been going on for several years.
Right. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And I'm a little bit prejudiced because I would love to see Community Board 12 be the first community board to pass the resolution as opposed to the rest of the city because I'm prejudiced. But I also wanted to give you, it's not a perfect analogy, but you were talking about family dynamics. As Maria knows, some years ago, a few of us supported something called the Ivy League Uptown Winds, which was an all-girls education and softball league. And initially, a lot of the parents in the program were very nervous because they didn't think it was proper for their girls to get dirt on their pants or to be hit by a ball or something like that. They didn't understand what their daughter was doing on a softball field. But after some of these same parents attended some of the games, and they saw not only the enthusiasm their daughters had for being part of a team, but also the improvement in their daughters' lives in other areas where their scores went up because they had something to invest themselves in, and their behaviors got less risky and less problematic because they were invested in something, what Maria just mentioned, invested in something where they had to use their hearts and minds. It changed them and it changed their parents. So I think this lowering the voting age has the same, potential capacity.
All right. All right. I think that I don't know if anybody else may have any question. Let's see who else. Maria, your hands is up. Let's see anybody else.
Yes, I would like to make a comment, please.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. listening to each one of you, the one that participated in this, those comments. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it on Saturday because on Friday I stepped out of the city, and I came a little late in the afternoon. But hearing what happened, and I knew it was going to be a pretty good event. I'm so glad of the team and all what happening there. But the big question that I have is after that discussion, after that meeting with the community, what is next? What is next? What is coming? What we're gonna do with the results of the discussion, the questions, responses that we had in there, and bring that? How can we use that experience with creating some kind of document that we can use tomorrow to improve youth and education, or to create a plan that will be in benefit of the community, that we can use in public events, that we can call to share with the community, and continue with that. But the other question is, there are so many things happening with the youth that most of the elected officials are responsible for what is happening right now. And our youth, yes, they're still looking for what to do. They're still looking for support. They need the hug of our community, our adult, our family, parents. But you know what? Parents don't know what to do. They can find not even a place where they can come and share with the kids, any sport place, cultural place. Most of the program right now has disappeared in our community, and wherever exists, as soon as they open up, registration is over in just few hours. And it's part of the thing that we as a youth and education committee, can think about and create a plan. There are elected officials that we can invite to a close meeting with the youth and education committee. This is what we need from you. This is what we're looking for. Look what is happening and present in a report. This is what we have. And I believe if we are looking for changes, we are looking to start implementing changes in our youth, in our communities, in our teenagers. We have to start creating something and doing something. Just, coming in the meeting and presenting ideas and discussions and planning, when are we going to do something that can put those elected officials, face to face with us and saying, this is what we're gonna do as a team. This is what we're gonna produce. Maria Luna just mentioned that, but if we don't make pressure, if we don't invite them to come, if we don't bring them to the room and present them, this is what we believe we should start doing. This is our proposal. How can we work together? Nothing is going to happen. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Well, that's a strong opinion, and yes, definitely. We hear you. We hear you. All right. So I would like then to, I don't know if anybody else may have any question. Give me 1 second, please. But I wonder if anybody else may have any comments and other comments before we proceed with this.
A question to Al, what is the time limit for this? This particular resolution, Joan, are you recommending us to consider this month or next month? How do you want to deal with that? I think
Yeah, Obviously, I would like to see it this month or next month, ideally. But we're also approaching other community boards and we're trying to, help give the city council more impetus, to start moving on the city council resolution. But, you're the ones that know your calendars and everything. So, if it's possible this month or early next month, that would be great because we would have it done, before the summer. But, I respect the process as you have to follow it.
All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna call a motion to open the floor for debate for more clarity and also to read this proposal resolution. And one of our members is going to second it. So we officially will start debating or discussing, although we already have unofficially do that, but we're gonna do it the right way, if I'm not mistaken. So let's call for that motion. Yes,
Before you call for your motion, we do have more hands still up from Miriam and
we
Louis.
do.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if you want to.
Louis has,
questions.
Louis and Miriam, yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Miriam raised her hands first. So.
What do you
Hello.
say, Louis?
Hello.
Yes,
Okay, I'm here. I want to kind of agree and piggyback off of the gentleman that spoke and also what Maria said. That he said that a lot of our programs have closed and the kids have no alternative or nothing else to do. I don't know about down in the Heights, but up here by Dykeman, there's nothing except on Saturday they have what they call city lights on Saturday evenings. My grandson has to go down to Harlem to the Boys and Girls Club because we have nothing up here for them to do, where they were actually chased out from the kids from the polo ground. So something has to be done.
well, I don't know if you have checked the PAL programs and the DA office that have also several programs, but I think that we have several programs in the community that probably we need to advertise them a lot more or share them a lot more.
Because
So,
all I see is with the police department, the Saturday city lights on Saturday evenings at IS 152. But during the week, what do they have? I can't say about
we have
down-
we have also the Beacon program with Alianza.
And-
Yes, that's something
well-
that we probably don't speak that much, but we have also the youth fresh initiative. Maybe
Beacon only work on Saturdays. And they're gonna close now on June 17 because I am involved with that school.
Well,
And yeah.
but we're talking about, whatever accessibility or program, may have, because they may have other alternative that as we are having this discussion, we may not be aware of. But the fact that they are in existence, when a program is being probably transferred or revised or canceled, sometimes there might be a possibility of looking into another alternative.
But
So,
when
that
I'm
might be the case with the Beacon program. We don't know, but we can find out definitely, yes. But I'm sure that, and I know so that we have, other programs. PAL, it's one of the greatest examples that we have in the community in Alianza Dominicana as well. So yes.
Okay, but what I'm saying is,
Yes.
everything is focused down in the Heights. There's nothing up here for the children and the teens that live up past 190th Street.
Marion is correct. Marion is correct. We said there are some programs in some areas, but I think we are moving from the discussion of the resolution to the lack of services for our young people all across Community Board 12. And that's something that needs to be looked at. There are some areas that have more programs than others. And as Marion says, Marian, you are right. You don't have to send a child, half an hour in a subway or in a bus to be
Right.
able to
They
participate.
actually, the kids that went down there to the Boys and Girls Club on 155th Street were
Right.
actually chased out of that area with bats and knives.
Correct.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. That is really unacceptable. You
You
are
know,
right.
my grandson is 17, but it doesn't matter if he's 17 or 12. That things like that shouldn't happen because they have to go out of their neighborhoods to have accessibility. I went down to the Boys and Girls Club. It's a beautiful place. We have nothing like that here. Up here.
Faye, with all respect, or
Yes.
Jacob,
Let's-
maybe we can go back to the resolution. So there was a motion on the floor.
No, we need, well, I'm gonna call for the resolution. When officially we are discussing that, but we're going to call a motion for the resolution to, before we be adopted, but let's officially call for a motion so we can open up the floor for discussion on this resolution and probably read this resolution or this possible, resolution. So, okay, all right. So now I'm officially wanted to call a motion to open the floor for, to call the question for this possible resolution. And the reason or the purpose of calling for this motion is to open the floor in support of the lowering the voting age to 16 for New York City municipal elections. So may I have a second?
Seconded.
Who seconded?
Jacob.
Jacob, thank you, Jacob. All right, now, so the motion is on the floor. Let's discuss, let's debate this matter. So, comments. I suggest that Al, if you want to read exactly how you are proposing, starting with the title, so we can all, if you briefly can restate that, since you are making the proposition.
So you want me to just read orally?
Yes.
Okay. So the title of the resolution is lower the voting age to 16. Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We're listening to you, yes.
Okay, lower the voting age to 16 for New York City municipal elections. And whereas current New York State election law has established the minimum age for voting at age 18. Whereas legislation has been introduced in the New York State Senate, Hoyum and Segal, Senate Bill 660 and Senate Bill 2562, and in New York State Assembly, Carroll, Assembly Bill 274 and Assembly Bill 330, which, if passed, would lower the voting age to 16 for New York City municipal elections and institute 8 hours of civics instruction in New York City high schools. Whereas the legislation is co-sponsored by our local elected officials, Congressman Adriano Espaillat in the House of Representatives, State Senator Robert Jackson, State Assemblyman Manny de los Santos, State Assemblyman Al Taylor, and supported by City Councilperson Carmen de la Rosa and City Councilperson Sean Abreu and Democratic District Leader Maria Luna. Whereas 16 and 17-year-olds are active members of their communities in activities such as advisory boards, action civics classrooms, community service, and civic engagement. And whereas many 16 and 17-year-olds pay income and sales tax, yet have no electoral input in how these revenues are spent. Whereas the minimum voting age of 16 has been established for years in many nations, such as Argentina, Austria, Brazil, Ecuador, the Isle of Man, Jersey, and Guernsey. And whereas a minimum voting age of 16 has been established in municipalities in the state of Maryland, such as Tacoma Park and Greenbelt. And whereas in places where people register at age 16 or 17, turnout rates in initial elections are higher than those who first register at 18. And whereas those who register at age 16 or 17 tend to vote at higher turnout rates than those who register at age 18 in subsequent elections, indicating that the habit of voting has been better established. Whereas recent developmental and political research demonstrates that 16 and 17-year-olds have adequate cognitive capacity, political knowledge, and motivation to vote. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Community Board Number 12 Manhattan calls upon the New York State Legislature to pass New York State Senate Bills 660 and 2562, Hoyle and Segal, and New York State Assembly Bills 274 and 330, Carroll, which would amend New York State election law and the New York State Constitution, lowering the minimum voting age to 16. Now be it further resolved that Community Board Number 12 Manhattan calls upon the New York State City Council to pass a resolution of support for the New York State legislation.
Thank you, Al. Well, the question is on the floor. So, members, did you have any question, friendly resolution, a friendly amendment for this? Any suggestion? I wanted to offer that a comment that this is a resolution that is seeks to be acknowledged in support of voting, but at city level. That's what I understand.
Yes,
This is correct, Al?
that's correct. New York City.
Yes, exactly. So meaning that young people between the range of ages 18 to 24, they will be able to vote when city council like Carmen de la Rosa, you know, just city level folks, leaders, they will be able to get in to vote with the city council during the city council's, you know, election. And that's important to know.
Right. You meant 16 and 17-year-olds would be able to vote.
Correct.
Right.
So I also wanted to say that and the now and therefore be the result when we call or you stated that the Community Board Number 12 Manhattan calls upon. I think that it would be also best to say we urge them to pass this resolution because we really want not to call upon them, but I highly suggest that that they should take an urgent action on this, not a passive voice, but you know, we urge them to do that.
I like that change.
Thank you. Maria, you have any input on this?
No, I've been supporting this thing for a long time, so I just don't have anything more to add. I urge, as I said before, I urge each one of us to, to recognize that this is a great opportunity that we all have in our hands to give the young people a choice that is going to make their life better and also our life better. So I hope everybody supports votes in support of this. Thank you.
Yes. And I also wanted to add that whatever suggestion we may volunteer on this, everything can change in the next step, which is present this resolution to the executive committee. And then the executive committee, after passing the executive committee, will be moved to the general meeting where the entire board will be voting on it. So it's important to acknowledge that. The committee may pass the resolution, but the final word is going to be, at the general meeting, especially, with the executive committee, because the executive committee can hold this resolution for whatever reason, but they also can improve this resolution. So I just wanted to share that piece of information because I think it's highly important to acknowledge that. We just passed the resolution, we opened the gate, but it's up to them to decide when they're gonna close it. Yes. All right. Anybody else? Al, you have a question? Luis has a question. Yes, go ahead, Al.
No, my hand should be down. It shouldn't be there.
So let's go to Luis. Yes. Our baby.
Well, I couldn't agree more with my colleague Jacob. I can't wait for this conversation to happen. I think I'm agree with all as well. We should invite other community boards as well as the schools. We should have a panel, bringing the young people and asking, so that they can share their thoughts on this. But I think on my opinion, the raise we should lower the age of the
voting age.
the voting age, thank you, to 16. Number
Yeah.
one, because it will keep our young people more engaged in political participation.
Mhm.
Number two, their voices will be heard. And number three, politics affects us in our everyday lives, and it affects everyone. So they should have a say on when it comes to to our local elections.
Absolutely. Thank you, Luis. Yeah, I definitely agree too. And also wanted to add that considering this, once we pass this resolution, hopefully, one of the advantages or the greatest advantage on this is that, believe it or not, maybe a lot of kids are more familiar probably with city council than even the community board. Although I can't deny that after, then the past 5 years, they had been more knowledgeable about the existing of community board, but city council definitely. And once they know that they can vote in city council, which is of course more official and more political, they definitely going to be more eager to, to get involved and in civil engagement, because it's just one step to everything start of course at community level, and then move to let's say a city council or local level. But I think definitely starting at the board is a great start, but moving to city council is even greater. Yes. So, all right. So do we have any other question or comment?
Yes, this is Ali. All right. The question I have is why, maybe I'm a little late on this, but why just for city council?
Well, it's not just for city council, the resolution is to allow 16-year-olds to vote for municipal elections, not just for city council. And any city office holder.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, I agree with that. Okay, no problem.
And we taking baby step. Remember, we started at the community board, like any leader. Most of the leaders, they started at, getting involved, or they started the civil engagement at community board level. Everything started in their community. So, and I think now that we just passed a few years ago, this the community board voting age 16 and up. So now we're moving to city council. I think that we're going like a step by step. We're taking baby step. Next thing we're gonna move to New York State, and hopefully, to federal level. But of course, my hair is gonna be completely gray by then, but we will get there. So,
right, but the question I have, is including just to be a member of the community board has to be appointed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, of course.
It's not through an open community election that whoever wants to participate, come and we debate. We look at resume, who has a qualification, why you running, why you want to participate. But sometimes we have people appointed just because, like myself, probably many of you in this committee, some of you know my history in the community.
Okay.
As a community activist, I have submitted 4 applications in different with different city councils and board of president. that I can give you the details. And I have received so beautiful letter that I keep all of them, recognizing my leadership, but now is not your time. Why? So, it's part of the question, part of the concern that I have when we talk about beginning at the community board. I try to begin at the community board, but
Yeah.
my intention has been denied.
All right, we cannot exit the topic. I understand, but we have to keep it focused.
Okay.
Because we're gonna be voting on this. We cannot bring another
Okay.
element after we finish it. But I
believe me.
appreciate definitely your question, because that can lead to other things as well that other can benefit from. But let's stay focused on this. So now, did anybody else
I just
have
moved
any
to close.
comment regarding this resolution?
I moved to close discussion on this one because we already have discussed this motion
Yeah,
back
we
and
only have
forth.
7 minutes left. Yes.
And and let's go up to vote.
All right.
Please.
So
Thank you.
Al, your hands is up.
No, it's not up anymore. That's,
all
I
right.
couldn't take it down.
All right. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna move to call for the voting procedures. So members, so you're going to say, if you in favor, you're going to say yes. If you're not sure, you're going to abstain. And if you in disagreement, you're just gonna say no. So let's call the vote. Jacob,
I
are you
vote
voting? Huh?
yes.
Yes. Louis? Louis,
Yes.
thank you. Maria?
Yes.
Yes. Guillermo?
Wait a second. It have to be the members
Jonathan.
members for
No,
the-
Jonathan, yeah, I forgot, I'm sorry. Jonathan?
Yes, I'm voting in favor as well.
Yes, very good. Miriam?
No,
No?
no.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, now we're going to move to the members of the public. Al?
Yes.
Okay, Guillermo?
Obtain.
Okay, who else is with us to vote? Okay. Oh, Domingo is with us. Domingo?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Let's see who else. Guillermo, Jonathan. All right, I think this is set.
And you?
And of course, Tom, I'm waiting to see if we have any other public attendance.
No.
Okay,
Fred,
so, all right, I didn't see
remember-
nobody else.
members
So
of the commi-
it's
the members
okay,
of the
I'm voting
committee
yes.
first.
Fair
Yeah,
voting
members
yes.
of the committee first.
No, always. I already finished with the committee except now. Yes, you're right. I'm voting yes.
Public members of the committee.
Okay, now committee members, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think that, give me 1 second. Okay, we have, the yes has it. We have 5 yes, 1 no, and 1 abstain from the public. Okay, so the resolution passed. All right. Okay, Jacob, I will revise the number again with you, although I know you had it anyway. So I want to thank you guys, for voting on this. This is a very important, matter. Now I would like to move to the next, to give the opportunity for community announcement. I understand, or I believe that we may have an announcement from Columbia. Let me see who else. Can we promote, let me see, yes, Columbia is on board. They have an announcement, and now will be the time to do that announcement?
Okay, I believe I just invited them to be a panelist.
Yeah, they already in. All right. Yes, let's see who is it.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm Carolyn Hirsch. I'm from Columbia University Irving Medical Center. Faye, I work with Sandra Harris, so I know you two know each other. We have a great opportunity coming up, scholarships for summer camp at Baker Field. So I can quickly share my screen.
Yes.
One moment.
Yes.
And the application, we're going to have, we've been doing this for many years now, for, over 15 years. I just have to, and we offer 1 week scholarships. Yes, and I would be happy, Faye, I shared the flyers with you.
Yes.
And I can't share my screen right now. My computer's not letting me, but great opportunity. Camps for children 6 through 18, soccer, and a general camp as well. Applications are due June 5th, and I can share in English and Spanish.
Either or, you can share either or, both, whatever you want.
Yes, yes. Oh, I have the links right here in the chat. That is the English application and the Spanish.
Yes, I've been reading the invitation. Yes.
Yes. So thank you very much. And it's also one of our missions. I appreciate listening to all of you talk about the absence of programs. And I'm looking forward to coming back and sharing more of the opportunities at the medical center. So thank you very much. And please apply and share it with people. I'm going to have the community board as well send out an email, but put your email in the chat if you'd like to receive any of our messages.
The link is broken. Is an error.
Is broken. Okay, let me resend it.
You can take 1 or 2 more minutes to further elaborate if you want to, Carolyn.
Okay.
Yes. So
I mean, we have college prep summer courses. We have a parent conference on parent and family virtual conference on how to prepare and pay for college. So, these are all opportunities that were made for local students. So that's our #1 priority. Yes, I'm happy to answer any questions. And yes, and I'm resending the link. Just give me 1 moment, please.
So Caroline, kid has to register for this program, right?
Yes, it's there. We have camps for ages 6 to 18, and parents can fill out the application and send it in to us.
And what is the deadline for the
June 5th, Monday, June 5th.
Monday, June 5th.
Yes.
June 5th. Okay, they have plenty of time.
Okay, I'm happy you feel that way.
Well, it's almost a month, but less than
almost a month. Yes.
But I think the faster the better, because they may run out of registration.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Is there any fee involved on this or no?
No, it's completely free. Completely free camps.
All right. Guys, do you have any question? No?
I do. I have a question.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Carolyn, approximately how many children
we
are
have
you taking? How much space do you have?
Yes, we have 22 scholarships this year.
That's good.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And when the other thing is, you said children, local schools. Does that mean only in this area? If they go to a school outside the borough?
It's for Community Board 12. We have all the information on the flyer, and I'm just trying to get that link for you. But you'll see it's Community Board 12, Washington Heights, and Inwood.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
okay.
happy to share my email address.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is if the child lives in the area but goes to school elsewhere, they're
Oh,
not.
no problem. It's
They're-
just by where they live.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yes, of course.
So Caroline, the numbers, for example, you have 22 vacancy, right? This is assigned only for Washington Heights.
Washington Heights, Inwood. Yes.
Okay, so each community will have a number.
I know that they offer for CB9 for Community Board 9 as well, but I work at the medical center, so I'm not involved in the Morningside summer camp scholarships.
All right, that's smart. All right, so I don't know, guys, if you have any other question?
Yeah, Faye, I just had one announcement I would like to make, if I could.
Say it again?
I have one announcement I would like to make.
Sure.
Yeah, first of all,
After
thank you.
Caroline, let me see if she finished. Caroline, you done already?
Yes, I'm done. But if you'd like to, my link is broken right now. It was working earlier, but if you'd like to get a message directly about the summer camp scholarships, please let me know. Just put your email in, or you can
forward it
email
to
me.
them.
Mine is in there as well.
I can forward information to them.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure. You already
Thanks for
sent it to
having
me. And to the board too. Huh. Thank you, Caroline. Yes, Al.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to thank the youth committee for such a strong vote of support. We in the business of organizing things like this, you really pick up our spirits and they give us the impetus to keep moving forward. But my announcement is the United Neighborhood Houses in tandem with about 25 funded organizations in New York City will be holding a rally in City Hall Park by the fountain just south of City Hall in protest against Mayor Adams' decision to cut $38.3 million from the budget of the Department of Youth and Community Development. And this will be on Wednesday, May 10th at 10:30 a.m. So people are encouraged, to bring as many people down as they can. There'll be many speakers there in a lot from the city council voicing their opposition to these cuts, especially in times when we have such a crisis of mental health occurring for our young people, record levels of breakdowns. This is not the time to make cuts to services for children and young adults who need these services. Thank you.
So
Can you share the flyer with the team, with us?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, for some reason, I lost the picture and my link and everything like that. It just says the word Zoom. I probably pressed some stupid button and I can't get back. But what I'll do is I'll scan and I'll send the flyer to Faye and maybe she could get it to all of you.
Thank you.
okay. Thank you, Al. I also wanted to say that the what is the program? The Hike in the High, they have their annual event on June the 3rd. And I think that's something, I already asked the board to share the information with the community. So I really wanted to tell you that just be on the lookout for this initiative. It's a beautiful event, and it's also is very much related to, nonviolence, the agenda that they promote. It's a beautiful walk throughout the community. And I really encourage everyone possible, to join us on that day, June the 3rd. So the flyer will be sent by the board sometime this week, I hope, yes. So anybody else before we adjourn?
Yeah,
our
I have
meeting?
my hand up. District 6 has their STEM fair June 3rd as well from 12 to 3. All the schools in the district basically come together at the Armory to be able to showcase student work within the district in the realm of technology and robotics. So, yeah.
Wonderful. All right. And the good thing is that you can always reward the child, go to YouTube and look at this again. All right, so at this point then, I'm ready to adjourn the meeting. So it's 9, I call a motion to adjourn the meeting. If there is any other further comment, 9:06 p.m. Sally, thank
I
you.
second.
Who seconded?
I second the motion.
Oh, okay, Guillermo Perez seconded. Okay, thank you, Guillermo. Remember next month, one of you is going to share or co-share the meeting. All right, good night.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
And thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.
Have a happy day. Thank you.
Thank you.
And